Glorified be your name, Abba, Yahweh Elohim, the Most High, the Mighty I Am of Yasharalah. Glorified be our Mashiach, our Lord Yahweh Shai. Glorified be the Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh. Greetings to all Yasharalah, including the Israelite foreigners. All right, family, let's do the book of Nehemiah. Let's get edified. Nehemiah prays for his people. The word of Nehemiah, the son of Yasharalah. It came to pass in the month of Chislev, in the 12th year, as I was in Shushan, the citadel, that Hanani, one of the brethren, came with men from Judah and asked them concerning the Jews who had escaped, who had survived the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. And they said to me, the survivors who are left from the captivity and the province are there in great distress and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem is also broken down, and its gates are burned with fire. So it was when I heard these words that I sat down and wept and mourned for many days. I was fasting and praying before Yahweh Elohim of the Shamayans. And I said, I pray Yahweh Elohim of the Shamayans, O great and awesome Elohim, you who kept your covenant and mercy with those who love you and observe your commandments, please let your ear be attentive and your eyes open, that you may hear the prayer of your servant, which I pray before you now, day and night, for the children of Yasharalah, your servant, and confess the sins of the children of Yasharalah, which we have sinned against you. Both my father's house and I have sinned. We have acted very eruptedly against you, and have not kept the commandments, the statutes, and the ordinance in which you commanded your servant Moses. Remember, I pray the words that you commanded your servant Moses, saying, if you are unfaithful, I will scatter you amongst the nations, but if you return to me and keep my commandments and do them, though some of you were cast out to the farthest parts of the Shamayan, yet I will gather them from there and bring them to the place which I have chosen as a dwelling for my name. Now these are your servants and your people, whom you have redeemed by your great power and by your strong hand. O Yahweh, I pray, please let your ear be attentive to the prayers of your servant and to the prayer of your servant who desires to fear your name, and let your servant prosper this day. I pray, and grant him mercy in the sight of this man, for I was the king's cupbearer. All right, man, it's pretty much like how we are now, man. We have all transgressed, against the Most High. We have lost our ways, We have been defiled. We have shameful face before the Most High. Every single one of us, man. You know what I'm saying? So let's just be thankful that there will be a remnant. 1/3. Nehemiah sent to Judea, and it came to pass in the month of Nisan, in the 20th year of the king Artaxerxes, when the wine was before him, that I took the wine and gave it to the king. Now I had never been sad in his presence before. Therefore the king said to me, why is your face sad, and since you are not sick, this is nothing but sorrow of heart. So I became dreadfully afraid. And he said to the king, and I said to the king, may the king live forever. Why should my face not be sad, when the city, the place my father's tombs, lies waste, and the gates are burned with fire? When the king then the king said to me, what do you request? So I prayed to Yahweh Elohim of the Shamayans, and I said to the king, if it please the king, and I your servant has found favor in your sight, I ask that you send me to Judea, to the city of my father's tombs, that I may rebuild it. Then the king said to me, the queen also sitting beside him, how long will your journey be, and when will you return? So it pleased the king to send me, and I sent him a time. Furthermore, I said to the king, if it pleases the king, let letters be given to me for the governors of the region beyond the river, that they must permit me to pass through till I come to Judea. In a letter to Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest, that he must give me timber to make beams for the gates of the citadel, which pertains to the temple, for the city wall, and for the house that I will occupy. And the king granted them to me according to the good hand of my Elohim upon me. Then I went to the governors in the region beyond the river, and gave them the king's letters. Now the king had sent captains of his army and horsemen with me. When Sebitel the Horitan and Tobiah the Ammonite officials heard of it, they were deeply disturbed that a man had come to seek the well-being of the children of Yasharalah. Nehemiah views the wall of Jerusalem. So I came to Jerusalem and was there 3 days, and then I rose in the night, and I and a few men with me, I told no one what my Elohim had put in my heart to do at Jerusalem, nor was there any animal with me except the one on which I rode. And I went out by night through the valley gate to the serpent well, and to the refuse gate, and viewed the walls of Jerusalem, which were broken down, and the gates which were burned with fire. Then I went on to the fountain gate to the king's pool, but there was no room for the animal under me to pass. So I went up in the night by the valley, and viewed the wall. Then I turned back and entered the valley's gate. So returned, and the officials did not know where I had gone or what I had done. And I had not yet told the Jews, the priests, the nobles, the officers, or any others who did the work. Then I said to them, you see the distress that we are in, how Jerusalem lies to waste, and its gates are burned with fire. Come and let us build the wall of Jerusalem, that we may no longer be a reproach. And I told them of the hand of the Most High Yahweh, which had been good upon me, and also the king's words that he had spoken to me. And they said, let us rise up and build. Then they set their hands and to do this good work. But when the Sanballat, the Horan, Tobiah, the Ammonite officials, and Geshem, the Arab, had heard about it, laughed at us and despised us, and said, what is this thing that you are doing where you rebel against the king? So I answered them, and I said, that Elohim, the Most High of Yasharalah, Yahweh Elohim himself, will prosper us. Therefore we his servants will arise and build, but you have no heritage or right memorials in Jerusalem. Yeah, man, nobody thinks that we're a nation, just kind of like how it is now, nobody thinks we're a nation, and people laugh at us, whatever, they think we're crazy, because, it's only 1/3 of Yasharalah against the whole world. But you know what, it's all right, man, the Lord's with us, Now rebuilding the wall. Then Elishabeth the high priest rose up with his brethren the priests and built the sheep gate. They consecrated it and hung its doors. They built as far as the Tower of 100 and consecrated it, and then as far as the Tower of Hanadel. Next to Elishabeth, the man of Jericho built it, and next to them Sakkar the son of Imri built. But also the sons of Sesanah built the fish gate. They laid its beams and hung its doors with the bolts and bars, and next to them Meremoth the son of Uriah the son of Kaz made repairs. Next to them Meshullah the son of Berishia the son of Meshesebel made repairs. Next to them Sidok the son of Bana made repairs. Next to them Tekoites made repairs, but their nobles did not put their shoulders to the work of the Most High. Moreover, Jehoiada the son of Pesia and Meshulia the son of Besodiah repaired the old gate. They laid its beams and hung its doors with its bolts and bars. And next to them, Melissa the Gibeonite and Jadon the Meronahite, the man of Gibeon and Mizpah, repaired the residence of the governor of the region beyond the river. Next to him, Uzziel the son of Hahiba, one of the goldsmiths, made repairs. Also next to him, Hananiah, one of the perfumers, made repairs, and they fortified Jerusalem as far as the broad wall. And next to them, Rephaiah the son of Hur, leader of half the district of Jerusalem, made repairs. Next to them, Jediah the son of Herupah made repairs in front of his house. And next to him, Hattusa the son of Shabbaleth made repairs. Moshiach the son of Harim and Hashub the son of Pahatha Moab repaired other sections, as well as the tower over the ovens. And next to him was Shalom the son of Haloah, leader of the district of Jerusalem. Him and his daughters made repair. Hanum and inhabitants of Sonao repaired the valley gate. They built it, hung its doors with its bolts and bars, and repaired thousands of cubits, wall feet, every refuge gate. Meli the son of rebuilt the wall. Okay, you know what? Like, I'm gonna kind of stop it right here because it just says a lot about who rebuilt this and that, So, I'm kind of gonna skip all that because it's just pretty much giving, credentials to many of the, of the peoples involved in rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem, And now let's see the wall defended against enemies. And so we're gonna start chapter 4 now. It says here, but it was so happened when Sanballat heard that we were rebuilding the wall that he was furious and very indignant and mocked the Jews, and he spoke before his brethren in the army of Samaria and said, what are these feeble Jews doing? Will they fortify themselves? Will they offer sacrifices? Will they complete it in one day? Will they revive the stones from the heaps of rubbish, stones that are burned? Now Tobiah the Ammonite was beside him, and he said, whatever they build, if even a fox goes up on it, he will break down their stones. Hear, O Yahweh Elohim, for we are despised. Turn their reproach on their own heads, and give them as plunder to the land of captivity. Do not cover their iniquity, and do not let their sin be bottled up from before. For they have provoked you to anger before the builders. So we built the wall, and the entire wall was joined together up to half of its height. For the people had a mind to work. Now it happens when Sanballat, Tobiah the Arab, and the Ammonites And the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem had been restored and the gaps were beginning to be closed, that they became very angry. And all of them conspired together and come attack Jerusalem and create confusion. Nevertheless, we made our prayers to our Elohim, and because of them we set watch against them day and night. Then Judea said, the strength of the laborers is failing, and there was so much rubbish that we were not able to build the wall. And the adversary says, they will neither nor see any till we come into the midst and kill them and cause them work to cease. So it was when the Jews were dwelt near them that they told us 10 times, from whatever place you turn, they will be upon you. Therefore I positioned men behind the lower parts of the wall at the openings, and I set people according to their families with their swords, their spears, and their bows. And I looked and arose, and I said to the nobles, to the leaders, to the rest of the people, do not be afraid. And then remember the Most High, Yahweh, great and awesome, and fight for your brethren, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your houses. And it happened when our enemies heard that it was known to us that Elohim had brought the plot for nothing, that all of us returned to the wall, everyone to his work. So it was from that time on that half of my servants worked in construction, while the other half shielded bows and armors behind the house of Jerusalem. So basically, they were protecting, what they were rebuilding, temple. It's like now a lot of people don't want us to become a nation because it's a threat. They're gonna lose their power. Illuminati. The wicked of Esau. Now it says here that pretty much it says here that where you heard the sound of the trumpet rally to us, our Elohim will fight. The Elohim held it down for them, so nobody would stop the building. Now it says, now go chapter 5, Nehemiah deals with oppression, and there was a great outcry of the people, their wives, against their Jewish brethren, for those who said, our sons and our daughters are mainly, therefore let us get grain, and they may eat alive. So I guess the children felt like they were oppressed, like they weren't getting their fair share, Now, let's continue. Then I said, should you not walk in the fear of Elohim because of the reproach of the nations and our enemies? I also with my brethren and my servants lend money then in grain. Let us stop this usury, restore now to them even this day. Basically everybody was pretty much, on this chapter, everybody was pretty much fighting about like their lot, like, oh, well, how much are you going to put on it? Or I put this much, or I brought this much material, or this manpower, that type of thing, And so he got so upset that he shook out the fold of his garment, and so the Elohim will shake out each man from his house and from the prosperity, even those they may have shaken empty assembly. So the Most High did according to his promise. So then everybody had to establish a role for everybody. The generosity of Nehemiah says here, Moreover, from the time that I was appointed to their governor in the land of Judah, from 20 years until the 32nd year of King Artaxerxes, 12 years, neither I nor my brethren governor provision, but the former governors, even yes, the servants bore rules over the people that I did not so because of the fear of Elohim. Okay, so that basically Nehemiah was like, the Most High was with him, so he made sure that everything that he was, accordingly, he was executing the plan, he was allowed to execute the plan of rebuilding the wall. But there was conspiracy against Nehemiah, saying that happened that look, that there was Shabbat, Tobiah, and Geshem the Arab, and their enemies had rebuilt the wall, that there were no breaks left, that the villages and plains but they thought to be harmed. So basically they were conspiring against him. Why should the work cease and leave it to come down to you? But they sent me messages 4 times, and I answered them. It is reported amongst the nations that you and the Jews plan to rebel. Therefore, according to rumors, you are rebuilding the wall that you may be their king, and you have appointed prophets to proclaim concerning you at Jerusalem. There is a king in Judea. Now the matters will report to the kings. Okay, so basically they were trying to accuse Nehemiah of conspiring to become the new king of Judea. To come in, then, for they had, so here it says, for they were all trying to make us afraid. Their hands will be weakened in the work, and it will be done. It will not be done. Now, therefore, Yahweh Elohim strengthened my hand. But it didn't come to be, man, because the Most High didn't allow it. Whatever the Most High wants to get done, it's going to get done on that day. So that, therefore, all these rumors didn't do it, So then it says that the wall was completed, So the wall was finished on the 20th day of Elul in 50th day. And it happened when our enemies heard of it, all the nations around us saw these things, that they were very disheartened in their own eyes, for they perceived that this work was done by our Elohim. Yes, you see, they knew that they tried their best to sabotage, Nehemiah, and it didn't work. You know what I'm saying? Just like now, they're trying their best to like sabotage us, but it's still not gonna work. Then it was when the wall was built, and I had hung the doors, and the gatekeeper, the singers, and Levites had been appointed. It says here that I gave the charge of Jerusalem to my brother Hanani, the leaders of the citadel, for he was faithful man and feared Yahweh Elohim. It says, and I said to them, do not let the gates of Jerusalem be open until the sun is high, and while they stand guard, let them shut and bar the doors, and appoint guards from amongst the inhabitants of Jerusalem to watch the station. Basically to hold down the fort. Now it says, and it says here that the captives who returned to Jerusalem. So it just lists a gang of names, you know what I'm saying, and really, for the sake of time, you could look that up yourself, and decipher who is who. It's just a multitude of people, they got credits, And now it says here that Ezra reads the law, and so then the prophet Ezra, he came to the children of Yasharalah and read the law. Now all the people, this is chapter 8, and all the people got together, one man, in an open square, and they told Ezra the scribe to bring the book of Moses, which the laws of the Most High was on. So Ezra the priest brought the laws before the assembly of men and women, and all who could hear with understanding on the first day of the 7th month. Then he read from his open square that was in front of the water gate from morning until midday before the men and women and those who could understand the ears, and all the people who were attentive to the book of the law. And Ezra the scribe stood on the platform of wood which he had made for the purpose, and beside him and was his right hand was there was a bunch of names of like priests and workers and loyal patriots. And Ezra opened the book in the sight of the people who were standing above them, and when he opened it, all the people stood up. And Ezra blessed Yahweh Elohim, the great Elohim of the Shammahs and of Yasharalah. Then all the people answered, while lifting up their hands, and they bowed their heads and worshipped the Most High, and their faces to the ground, right? And helped, and the people understood the law, and so they read distinctly from the book and the law, and they gave Elohim praises and helped them understand the reading. Now, and Nehemiah, who was the governor, Ezra was the priest and the scribe, and the Levites who taught the people, said to all other people, this day is the holy day of the Most High Yahweh Elohim. Do not mourn, weep, for all the people wept. They heard the words of the law. Then he said to them, go your way, eat fat, drink and the sweet, and send portions to those for whom nothing is prepared. For this day is holy amongst the Most High. Do not sorrow, for the day of joy is the Most High's strength. Yeah, he told them not to weep, man. Instead to be happy that they rebuilt the temple. And the people went their way and ate and drank, and because they understood the word, they were happy and declared it. Now it says the Feast of Tabernacles. Now on the second day, the scribe ordered them the words of the law, and they found written in the law of Moses that the children of Yasharalah should dwell in both during the feast of the 7th month, and they should announce and proclaim in all their cities of Jerusalem, and go out to the mountain, bring olive branches and murder trees and a bunch of stuff, right? Then the people went out and brought them all out, in the courtyard, and so they assembled together, and they sat on their booths, and they observed the Feast of Tabernacles. Also day by day, from the first day until the last day, he read from the book of the law, of Moses, and they kept, the law of Moses, of Yahweh, and kept the feast 7 days. And the 8th day there was sacred assembly, according to the prescribed manner. The people confessed their sins. That's chapter 9. Now it says here, now on the 24th day of the month, the children of Yasharalah were assembled with fasting and sackcloth and with dust on their heads. Then those of Yasharalah's lineage separated themselves from the foreigners, and they stood and confessed their sins and the iniquity of their fathers. And they stood up to the place and read from the book of the law and Most High Elohim for 1/4 of the day, and for another fourth they confessed and worshiped Yahweh Elohim, the Most High. Then Yeshua, Bani, Kadil, Sheba, bunch of names, right? Cried out loud voices to the Most High Yahweh, and the Levites and all these bunch of other names. Stand up and bless the Most High Yahweh Elohim forever and ever. Blessed be your name, glorious name, which is exalted above all the blessings and praises. You alone are Elohim, and you made the heavens and the heavens of the heavens with all the hosts in the earth, everything on it, the seas, and all of it is all that is in them, and you preserve them. The host of the Shamayim worships you. So you are the Elohim, the Most High Yahweh, who chose Abram and brought him out of Ur of the Chaldeans, and who gave him the name Abraham. You found his heart faithful before you and made a covenant with him to give the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Jebusites, the Perizzites, and the Gershishites, to give it to their descendants. You have performed your words, for you are righteous. You saw the affliction of our fathers in Egypt, and you heard their cries by the Red Sea, and you showed signs and wonders against Pharaoh, against all his servants, and against all the peoples of his lands, for you know that they acted proudly against him. So you made a name for yourself as it is to this day, and you divided the sea before them, so that they went through the midst of the sea on the dry land, and their persecutors you threw them into the deep as a stone into the mighty waters. Moreover, you led them by day with a cloudy pillar, and by night with a pillar of fire, to give them light on the road within which they should travel. I'm gonna stop it right there in a minute. He's glorifying the Most High, man, and and the chariots, the cloud, Mount Zion, and all the miracles that he did, and it's gonna happen once again, So it came you came down also on Mount Zion and spoke with them from the Shamayanas and gave them ordinance and true laws, good statutes and commandments. You made known to them your holy Shabbat, the Sabbath, the holy day, the only day mentioned, only day named, and commanded them precept status and precept the law, statutes, and commandments by the hands of Moses your servant. You gave them bread from the Shamayan for their hunger, and you brought them water out of the rock for their thirst, and told them to go into the possessed land which you had sworn to give them. But they and our fathers acted proudly, hardening their necks, and they did not heed your commandments. They refused to obey, and they were not mindful of your wonders, and you did amongst them, but they hardened their necks. And in their rebellion they appointed a leader to return to their bondage. But you are the Elohim, ready to pardon, gracious and merciful, slow to anger, abundant in kindness, and did not forsake them. Even when they made a molded calf before them, this is your God, and they brought you out of Egypt, and worked great provocations. Yet in your manifold mercies you did not forsake them in the wilderness. The pillar of the cloud did not depart from them by day, to lead them unto the road, nor did the pillar of fire by night, to show them light, and the way they should go. And also you gave yourself good spirit to instruct them, and did not withhold your manna from their mouth, and gave them water for their thirst. 40 years you sustained them in the wilderness. They lacked nothing. Their cloth did not wear out. Their feet did not swell. Yeah, man, he stayed, ever merciful Father has patience, man, Now it says here, moreover, that you gave them kingdoms and nations, and divided them into districts, so they took possessions of the land of Sihon, the land of the king of Heshon, the king of Og. You also multiplied the children as the stars of the Shaman, and brought them into the land which you had told their fathers to go and possess. So the people were in possession of the land. You subdued before them the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, and gave them into their hands with your kings and the people of the land, and they might do with them as they wish. And they shook strong cities and rich land, and possessed houses of full cedars. He's basically saying all the blessings, that the Most High gave us when He gave us the promised lands. And he's, verse 26 says, nevertheless, they were disobedient and rebelled against you, cast your laws behind their back, and killed your prophets who testified against them, who turned them to yourself, and they worked great provocation. Therefore you delivered them into the hands of their enemy, who oppressed them, and in the time of their trouble, when they cried out, you heard them from the Shamayans. According to your abundant mercy, you gave them deliverance, who saved them from the hands of their enemies. But after they had rested, they again did evil before you, left them in the hands of their enemies, so they had dominion over them. But you heard their cries, and you delivered them once again. So basically, the story keeps repeating itself, man. We keep falling for these other nations' ways, man. These heathens, Edomites, and all these other shit, idolizing. And then when shit hits the fan, we want to come back to our Father and start crying, and He's always merciful to deliver us. So it says here that they testified against them again. You know what I'm saying? But sin against your judgment. Once again, we sin, like I said, man. It says, nevertheless, your great mercy, utterly consumed, or you are the Most High, So basically, the Most High keeps forgiving us, for all the things that we do. here we are, it says, servants today in the land that you have given our fathers to eat fruit and bountify because of our sins. Also they have dominion over the body. Because of all this, we make a covenant and write it in our leaders. Basically, like, we keep repeating the story over, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's just pretty much that's how much it is, man. So I'm gonna kind of end it with that because it pretty much just says, like it's kind of like repetitive in a sense where it's just, retelling you, I mean, we keep making the same mistakes over and over, man. We're just stiff-necked, stupid people, man, and hopefully, we'll get it together this time, Now here I'm gonna finish it actually with chapter 13. It says here principles of separation. On that day, they read from the book of the law, and they were founded in the law, hearing of the people, and in it was found written that no Ammonite or no Moabite shall ever come into the assembly, because they had not met the children of Yasharalah, saying with bread and water. So basically, it's to separate ourselves, man. We're a different nation than them, and we have to remember that, for I'm gonna read one last phrase, man. That's like cleanse them over every pagan. Look, remember them, O my Elohim, because they have defiled the priesthood and the covenant of the priesthood and the Levites. Thus I cleanse them of every pagan. I also assign duties to the priests and the Levites to bring the wood offering and the first fruits of anointed times. Remember Elohim forever. Yeah, man. So get rid of all this shit, man. Forget all this Christmas and all this other Easter, Islam, all this other crap, man. And get back to your law, statutes, and commandments. So, shalom.